Hello, good evening, and welcome back. So we all know that women are strong, confident, and independent, and just as capable as men, and they should be given the highest offices in the land, and they should be the CEOs, and they should be just as often as men, because they're just as capable in every field, no matter what. They should be taking the top offices. So I'm sure we'll all be pleased to see the new Europol campaign reveals most wanted women fugitives. Because hey, why should men always get the hot spots, the top spots, when it comes to intelligence and criminality even? Surely women should get their fair place at the top as well. Well, no. Of course, this has received much condemnation to say, hey, well, no, women can't be criminals. It's clearly much more likely to be men than it is to be women. You can't lump women in with men when it comes to criminality. Women are far too good for that, as we'll see in the conclusion. But it's brilliant that they leave it ambiguously, but they leave it ambiguous, essentially, of what the gender is supposed to be. Gender and sex they use interchangeably, so maybe they've painted themselves into a corner here. But to say, well, yes, here are the masterminds, and we shouldn't be ignoring the women who take part in such a prestigious role in the criminal underworld, and we should know that women are just as capable as men. But of course, by saying that, say, no, hang on, no, the criminal's bad. No, you see, women are only as good as men when it comes to good things, but they have all the positive traits and none of the negative traits. So as far as the mask is slipping, this is a great example. So they say. The youth crime agency Europol has launched a campaign showing its most wanted women accused or convicted of serious and organised crimes. On a dedicated webpage, images of the fugitives are covered with masks that fall away to reveal their identities. Europol said it wanted to highlight that women were just as capable as men of carrying out serious crimes. Although women are perpetrators of serious crimes, statistics show the majority globally are committed by men. Yes, let's gather them to begin with. But they might be, but are you saying then that women aren't capable? What now? A recent study on women in serious crime, commissioned by the British government and published this year, also emphasises that most criminal roles, including senior roles in organised crime groups, are dominated by men. Which gives me a great idea, and of course then the title of this video, to say that women are just as good at being criminals as men. And why not get it to be a 5-word phrase? Why not make it more succinct? If you say it's okay to be white, and Islam is right about women, why not women are great criminals too? Because again, it's going to throw them into a tailspin of saying, hang on, so are women just as good, or are they actually not as good at men and intelligent at using people, and again, traits needed to be a successful businessman? Does that mean that then women aren't as good? Hang on, because you've got to take the good with the bad. Of course, the men with intelligence have a wider bell curve, so they take most of the CEOs, but then there are also most of the prisoners, with 90% being male. And that's admitted widely by anybody who takes the literature seriously. But, of course, when you say, oh yes, so you want quotas for women to be CEOs, so do you also want quotas for women to be inmates in prison? They say, well, no, of course not. I say, well, okay, then you're not going with equality. And the mask slips further. So they say, of the 21 fugitives featured on The Crime Has No Gender site, 18 are women and 3 are men. Each person's gender is left intentionally ambiguous until their mask is removed. They mention one in particular, Alina Prisovich, who trafficked 9 young Russian women into Caracas in Spain and forced them into sex work. And they show her here at 39 years of age. And despite that, she was, as we see here, sentenced 3 times to a total of 12.5 years of imprisonment, ratified by the Spanish Supreme Court. Yes, ruining the lives of 9 young women, but of course, because she is a woman, she only faces 12.5 years. Yeah, so it's okay, ladies, don't worry. The court knows that you're not as clever and good at crime as men, so they don't charge you as much, so I guess you're happy with that. Or are you saying you want to go with equality and you don't want to have lesser sentences because you're a woman? Oh, the plot thickens. So when they ask, are women more responsible for serious crime than we think? The answer obviously being yes. Dr. Marion Duggan, an expert in gender and criminology at the University of Kent, told the BBC that Europol was right about there being a stereotype casting men as more likely than women to perpetrate serious and organised crime, but the stereotype existed because it was true. She said, yes, they can't take any negativity, can they? Not at all. Obviously, all crimes can be committed of anybody of any gender, Dr. Duggan said. Yes, of course, the women must be just as good. But while some women do commit serious crimes, they do so far less frequently than men. Yes, it's clear, because women are so good, they have a greater moral compass as well. They're so much more intelligent and so much more moral than their inferior male counterparts, because men are evil, don't you know? So, she goes on to say, for human trafficking, there's a false sense of security with women, so they might be used to gain the trust or compliance of victims, she said. With drugs trafficking, we tend to see women used as decoys or to facilitate the movement of drugs. So essentially, yes, we don't think of women as being bad, and therefore they can use themselves better in order to get people on their side and become more trustworthy, because that stereotype is there that women are better than men and they're more trustworthy and faithful than men are, and that exists despite the patriarchy, apparently, that people prefer women to men. So she must save herself at the end by saying, but not in the very high or powerful roles. Yes, because that's what matters. It's not the desire to be into criminality, but it's how far you get. So they say, equating these crimes to those of the male fugitives listed by Europol, many of whom are wanted for murder, was disingenuous, Dr. Duggan said. Oh yes, of course. So then we get to their beautiful conclusion, and the double standards are immaculate. I wouldn't see it as equitable, she said. I think the campaign will probably be very popular, but I don't think it will shift the narrative to women are as criminal as men, because I think most people know that to not be true. Yes, so how we know that on average men are better business people than women. Most people know that to be true, yes, so it must be true. Hang on, but you're saying that isn't, because it's clearly the patriarchy at work, which you can't see or feel or see any tangible effects of, that is definitely there. And most people know it to be true that the men are better suited than women, but that makes it not true. Whereas here, when most people most people know that men are more criminal than women, that's definitely true. Yes, because it fits their narrative. Yes, fuck off. Okay, how about that? How about, when do you realise, when do you have some self-realisation that you are evil? When do you realise that? When do you think, so we seem to be demonising men and saying they're not deserving of any appreciation or praise, but they should be castigated and segregated away from society because they're clearly much more evil and lack a moral compass. Because men are just evil, yeah, and women are just the helpless victims in all of this. Yeah, when do you realise that you're evil and that you're taking away the free will of people and you're just pushing your disingenuous agenda? It's disgusting. And so, of course, related topics to this on the BBC website include sexism. Because that's clearly what this is all about. So, hey BBC, you can fuck off. Not the first time I'll say that, and it won't be the last time. And I think we can all see why. So yeah, you want women to be equal as men in everything? Well, that includes crime. So, your move. But to everybody else, thank you very much for watching. You're very nice people. So, thank you very much. I hope this has been a bit of an eye-opener, and we can see that their quest for equality is very short-sighted, as we all knew beforehand. So please do leave your comments down below if you think that women are clearly superior than men in every way, including being more moral, and therefore they're not actually getting involved in criminality, they're just being used. Yeah, and that's why they should have lesser sentences than men as well, and that's why there should be far more men in prison than women, but there should be definitely a quota for women in higher paid jobs. Not for the lower paid ones, no, not the ones that people don't want to do. Oh, definitely not. We shouldn't put women there, because that's not very nice. We should let the dirty men do the dirty work. Yeah. Let me know. I'm intrigued to hear your arguments. But thank you so much for watching. And hey, it's Friday night, so enjoy your weekend all, and I'll see you next time.